War Journal, Flames of War. And this podcast is our thoughts and discussions about the Flames of War game and other related interests. This episode is brought to you by Tracy George and Chaos Magic. We are not claiming to be experts of the game, but just wanted to have a casual conversation about Flames of War. Without any further delay, we now make our advance onto the podcast. And here are your hosts, Tracy and Arthur.
This is Tracy.
And I'm Arthur.
Welcome to War Journal, Flames of War, Episode 2, Bootcamp. What's on tap for today's episode, Arthur?
This time we will look at 3 new segments for a total of 7 topics. They are Basic Training, where we discuss ways to improve our skill. We'll be discussing tournaments in the segment Our Hobby. Keep Your Enemies Close, where we talk about a single specific unit. That's New, where we discuss easily forgotten rules. In the segment Reconnaissance, we will look at World War II history through the use of reviewing movies, books, and other media. Art of War, in which we will apply lessons from Sun Tzu to Flames of War. Off Topic, where we discuss our other gaming interests.
We need to improve how we play the game, so our playing won't be lame. How will we keep improving? By going back to basic training.
Alright, well, Arthur, this episode of Basic Training really came up from our game last week, where we found out we really needed to work on something.
Yeah, that game took way too long.
Yeah. Well, part of it was we also trying new forces and stuff like that. So we were like, we kept having to look up what this force did, but you know that shouldn't be happening like that.
We always, every time we play, we always play with like a brand new list and have new elements about it, and looking up rules. Another problem I noticed is we don't know all the scenarios like the back of our hand.
Yeah.
So we've taken a long time to like look through the rules, set it up, as well as look through there to find out how do we win, how do we prevent our opponents from winning, and that all takes a lot of time. We need to be better prepared ahead of time, since there's only 12 scenarios. Yeah.
By the time we got done with our game, it seems like we should have been through 12 scenarios, because that was just way too long. So, we kind of talked about it, because we both thought, man, this is just way too long. I don't want to talk about how long it was, but it was way too long for a game, and if we were going to like a tournament or something, I mean, we can't be... It was also, I noticed, and both of us were doing it, we would sit there and look, like, what do I want to do? And finally, okay, I'm going to move this unit, okay, now... It wasn't like planning ahead, it was kind of like, well, what do I want to do here? And you're looking at the situation.
Yeah, that's true. And also, like I said, like I didn't know the rules like the back of my head, and so every time you ask me a question, I had to go to the iPad, flip through stuff, and like, come on, flip. Okay, there we go. It's this.
Yeah, you had to go through your army list, figure out. Yeah.
So one thing I was thinking about speeding up is like on index cards, make the stat line of all my units, so it'll be right at hand. I could be answer questions about them really quickly.
Yeah. Also, I know most of my stuff. Like we talked on the way over here. Like I know my Shermans, I know my artillery, but one of them that was thrown at me was the anti-aircraft, which I hardly ever shot in most games, but I'm starting to use it more. And there seems like there was something else. Oh, whenever aircraft shoots, I always seem to have to look that up.
Yeah. Well, I have about 5 or 6 different tanks I can take throughout various late war lists. And I have my favorites, but I haven't used my favorites in a while, so like use them again, I forgot their stats.
Yeah. So what we kind of came up with, kind of talking like this, is we were, I kind of saw like War Machine, when they have a War Machine tournament, I saw these guys using it, and that's the chess clock.
Yeah, that will definitely make you be on your toes. It's like, I'm running out of time.
Yeah, because when we were originally talking, we were talking like, well, like a 2.5 hour game would be a good time span. And we said, well, how long would that be? And we were talking like 30-minute turns, 20-minute turns, and we'd go into 15.
Yeah.
But if we set it to where, with this chess clock, because I've downloaded one, and let's say we want to play 2.5 hours, what you do is you split that time equally between the two players. So each player has an hour and 15 minutes.
And if you run out of time, you disqualified?
I don't know. Or we can do what we kind of were talking about. You have a timer, okay, your turn's now, and you got 15 minutes to finish your turn. And if you don't get to the end, your turn's over. I don't know, that may be a better way to do it. Just because we were talking about, let's limit it to 15 minutes a turn, because then that would be like 1, 2, 3. I don't remember, it was like how many turns that was if you went the full max time.
15 minutes a turn.
1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be like 5 turns. Because it'd be a half hour for...
Yeah.
And that'll make you not so much sitting there, because a lot of it was us sitting there. What do I want to move? What do I want to shoot? Do I want to move this over here, or just hold it here? Or, well, no, I need to get over here. And so a lot of it was that also not only us not knowing our army list, it was a lot of debating internally about what to do, and that's really slowed the game down.
Like that part, I'm not as worried about if you could fix other spots. Because like my experience, in 4th edition, Warhammer 40K, is like at the beginning, I played a game and it takes like 3 or 4 hours. But after playing over and over again, I played a 3-person game with 2 other friends who knew their armies really well. I knew my army really well, and we did 3 games in an hour and a half.
Wow!
But we do our rules so well, just like. Okay, this unit's shooting here. I just grabbed him. I knew exactly how many dice I knew. Rolled. I knew what I needed. We rolled. He needed what he needed to save. We were just like boom, boom, boom.
Was there a lot of thinking about what you're going to do next?
There was some of that, which probably took up the most of our time. But when we decided, when we knew what we needed to do, we just did it. Because we did not look at our rule books. We didn't look at our own books. Because we just trusted, like, you do your rules, I do mine. You ask me a question, I can tell you off the back of my hand.
Well, I guess it'd be like before we play, like what you're saying, just know your army.
Yeah.
Before you play.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to play Flames of War today, because I knew the next time we played, we were going to use the time clock. And I wanted more or less study up, not only make my list, but study it, so I really, really do it. And as well as write up my index card, so I have quick notes.
Yeah, that'll work. All right, so we'll see how that goes. Well, we'll still have to discuss, do we want to use the chess clock thing, or do we want to just do, you have 15 minutes in your, I'm almost pointing now towards the 15-minute timer.
Either way would work for me. Like, I see bonuses for each.
Yeah.
But,
no, we'll see how it goes.
Our hobby.
All right, so Arthur, in this segment, you want to talk about tournaments.
yes, we talked about in private about going to tournaments. So, why don't you start? Why do you want to go to the tournament, or what do you think you would get out of going to a tournament?
You know, I've played some like 40K tournaments. I guess I get a little nervous with them, but I think it's more just to meet the other players and try to build up a community thing. I don't know, but the problem I'm having is there's no tournaments. I go to like the website, Flames of War website, and then look at events that are happening. There's just no tournaments close to us. They're like out of state.
That doesn't bother me. Well, other than paying for gas.
Yeah.
But that doesn't bother me. Because for me, I got 4 reasons for wanting to go to tournaments. And one of them is to travel. I like to get out of state, travel, see other places. Mm-hmm. Like, I enjoyed this when I used to go to anime convention once a year, and just the experience of just driving across 2 or 3 states is different.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice also if we could have a tournament here. I was thinking it'd be nice to, we got a pretty good game store here in Wichita,
That's true, but I'm not sure how many people we have.
That's the problem I'm having is like, yeah, we can have a tournament, but how many people are going to show up? That's the thing. You never know, though. I mean, if you get it advertised, maybe we get people from nearby states coming in.
Or even people from, like, Kansas City might be come down. Because I know there's a group, because I saw on Battlefront's page, looking through some stuff, I know there's one in Kansas City, a group that plays, like, once or twice a week. So.
Yeah. Well, another problem I'm running into right now with wanting to do a tournament, there's 2 things. There's two things. One of them is I am pretty much like my army's fully painted, but I'm going more mechanized with the men, so I'm half tracks, and I'd have to like proxy German half tracks, and I don't think that would be the right thing to do. So I'd have to get some more half tracks and paint those.
Well, you're talking to someone who has to start from the ground zero, pretty much. Because up to this point, I've just been playing with all your stuff, and what I want to use is like almost nothing you have.
Right. Well, also, this is kind of what we talked about in the previous. This is why we moved this to the second part instead of having this first part. Is how long it took us to play, and there's just no way we could do a tournament with how long it took us to play that game.
Yeah, but I think what we just need is more experience. The more we play, the faster we get. Like a few years ago, I used to play 40K. Like when I first started, it took me forever to play games. But after a while, I was able to pick up the pace, and I got to know my army really, really well. And there was a time, me and two other friends would play like a 3-person game, which should, in theory, take longer than a normal 2-player game.
Uh-huh.
But we all three of us knew our own army so well and the rules so well that we played 3 games in an hour and a half.
Well, I think that's one of the things I might need to start thinking about, because I started building another list the other day, and I have like 10 units in there. It's like, I have 10 different platoons in this one. This is awesome. But it comes down again, like, know your list. So I think maybe sticking to one list, maybe 2, but knowing what's in there, and that's one of the things we talked about, too, that would help speed up our game.
Definitely need to spend time and really study your list so you can go through it quicker. No, like I said, like for me, going to tournaments, I have 3 other reasons I want to go besides traveling. Is like I like to play other people because it's fun playing you, but I like to experience like other people's play styles, play something else besides U.S. Get to see some Russian lists, some Canada,
yep. Yeah, that's true.
Even get some German on German or U.S. on U.S. action.
Yeah, I built another Russian list because I do have a Russian army, but man, I still Russian's not the army I really want to play though. Yeah,
especially since you still have to paint it.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't want to paint. You were talking though about like one of the reasons you'd want to go to a tournament. I thought of one, and that would be, I would like to, there's like, it seems like most tournaments are like all comers, so we do late war, mid war, early war, and it's just all comers. It would be interesting if they did, okay, this is the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh,
so you can only use the books that are from the Battle of the Bulge. So it's kind of a themed tournament.
Well, that'd be interesting, but though I just got through looking at Devil's Charge, I'm like, I don't really like the journalist in here.
Well, there's other. That's not the only one.
That's true.
The next book is another one.
That's true, but that's interesting. It reminds me, like, while looking at the front page of Battlefront today, I was looking through their tournaments, and I saw a tournament that was just Market Garden only. So that could definitely be interesting, but for me, like, I'm still at the beginning, just building up my force, so that's a ways down for me.
Well, it would be like if they had a tournament with Bridge of Remagen, you'd be all in.
I was like, okay, what do I got to change? Oh, yeah, nothing.
Nothing. Was there anything else you wanted to?
Yeah, like I had, like another reason for me going to tournaments is like to test myself. We're still new in this hobby, and our skills are probably not great.
Right.
We're getting better, but I always like to test myself, really push my limits. And I think a tournament is a great environment for something like that.
Yeah.
Another reason I want to go to tournaments is the community factor. You already kind of talked about it, but like I like to talk to people, find out, learn from them what the hobby in the community from where they're from is like, as well as like I have a brand, Chaos Magic, and it's a lot easier to promote myself in person if someone actually knows me and meet me and hopefully gets to like me, and if
Yeah.
I'm not a jerk.
Yeah. Well, it would be nice to set up a, like, kind of what you were talking about, like with those other people in the other city, and then you can go to their events, and then they
Yeah.
come to yours, and you start kind of building that community up.
Yes, that's a word for that. It just completely went over my
I have
head.
no idea.
Not networking, but
Social, something with social something? I don't know.
yeah, that.
Keep your allies close, but keep your enemies closer.
Arthur, we're going to talk about keep your enemy close.
Okay.
And this is an enemy you know very well, the Jumbo, the Sherman Jumbo. That's the unit I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Well,
Stuff to learn from. I got a lot to learn from here because I just kind of just like da-da-da-da-da. Wait, what? What? So, teach me.
Well, that was like one guy when he didn't know the rule, and I started like, oh, I could allocate. No, that's the higher armor. No, I get the. And he was like, you just see his eyes bulge as he's reading the rules. Which, it's that Jumbos lead the way. Which is, you may allocate hits to the Jumbo. Now, there's two different types of Jumbos now. I've only run one against you. There's two different types. So the M4A3E2 Jumbo or the M4A3E2 76 millimeter tank, if it had the lowest armor rating, assigning it a hit before lesser armor tanks. Now, it doesn't work against bombardments and aircraft attacking it. That's just what's under the template. It's going to get hit. So with this bad boy here, and I'll give you a little bit of the stats here. All right, so the normal Jumbo is for an Armor 12, which you've had a lot of fun with, the Armor 12. Side 8 and top 2. So it's kind of getting like your Tiger had like the 9 front but 8 side and 2 top. So this is kind of like that except for 12 front. It also has 3 machine guns.
Wow.
Yeah, like most of my Shermans have 3 machine guns. So you got the hull mounted, the coaxial, and the 50 caliber anti-aircraft. That Jumbo's lead away, and then tank telephone, which I need to start using. Which is if there's a infantry unit next to the tank, I can use that infantry unit as like recon to the eyes and ears to pull your gun to ground. He gets to roll, and if he's successful, he tells the tank right there.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's tank telephone. So it has that rule. Another nice thing is smoke. So I can do direct fire smoke with that. And then the stabilizer rule, which is I can move and do my full rate of fire as long as I didn't move through difficult terrain, but there's that +1 penalty. So it makes it 1 harder hit, but I get both dice with stabilizers.
Yeah, I don't think it's very good unless you're shooting at like conscripts.
Well, that gets to the bad points of this bad boy, the bad points, and one of them is the anti-tank 10. I think once you hit 11, that's kind of like the golden mark. Because a lot of tanks are 6, 7 armor. And once you hit that 11, well, I shouldn't say most tanks, but a lot of tanks are. Yeah. Once you hit that 11, it seems like that 4. Now you're needing 4s to be okay instead of just a glance.
Yeah.
You know, before it was like 3 or less, okay, I'm in a little bit of trouble. Now it's 4 or less, so it puts at 11, which I think is like your Stugs are 11, which makes it a little more nasty to me.
Same thing for the Panzer Force, because I don't use Stugs.
Yeah. So that's one of the bad things. Another thing is it's slow. It goes 8 inches, which you can put other Shermans with, and they have like Detroit's finest, so they go 14 inches. Well, no. If they're with us, they're going to be slowed down. So that's kind of the couple of bad points. Oh, I should say, though, about this Jumbo's lead the way about allocating. You still have to do the allocation. So if you're shooting at, let me get another Sherman here. So let's say you're shooting this Sherman, and this is a regular vanilla Sherman's in front of the Jumbo, and that vanilla Sherman's within 16 inches, but the Jumbo's beyond the 16, I have to allocate to that one closer. So if you can, I shouldn't be telling you how to do this, but if you can work it somehow that I have to allocate to the other tanks first,
I see.
I can't use that rule. because there's still the allocation. I still have to follow the allocation. So if they're both within 16 and both valid targets, boom, I can put it on the jumbo.
On the flip side, is like if I do a bunch of hits, I can't hit. Or, well, I guess if I have the range, I can still hit the jumbo.
Right. So you want to, and if you only hit me once and it's going on the jumbo, like a lot of your stuff's been like anti-tank. Some of it's been 14, I think, or 13 or something like that. And it's like I've been at the distance, so I don't even have to roll.
I think the Panther is 14.
Yeah.
Which was used to be my favorite tank.
Well, the other one, which you have not ran into, I think it's just points is what's getting me on that one, and that's the 76 millimeter. Now, there is a couple of differences. One of them is it's anti-tank 13. So a jumbo with anti-tank 13. So that's pretty nice. But...
as opposed to 10?
Yeah. Yeah, that 13's really... you can hurt a lot of tanks with that. The other thing that's not good about the 76 millimeter is it loses smoke.
Oh.
And I really like smoke.
I hate smoke, so you should run it more.
No. So that's the one I want to talk about, my little favorite little Sherman tank, and I don't think I'll ever upgrade it, to the 76 millimeter.
Okay.
That's new.
All right, Arthur, I think you'll get this one. All right, so this is the situation. We got 3 different units. They're all within 4 inches of each other, and they're kind of like in the shape of a triangle. So at one corner, we have the German infantry. Okay. At another corner, we have the German with their Pack 40s, a platoon. So these are 2 separate platoons. So we have a platoon of infantry and a platoon of Pack 40s. And at the other corner, we got the American Shermans. It's American Sherman's turn. They're going to shoot. They shoot the Pack 40s. In the assault step, who can they assault?
They can assault either platoon because they're within 8 inches of each other.
Bing, 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 bing. Arthur, you got this one. Yes. So the rule is, and it's on page 147, it's charge who you shot at, which is a misleading title, should be charge who you shot at, or that's near who you shot at.
Just charge in a general direction.
So the rule says, when charging into contact, an assaulting team that shot in the shooting step must charge a team that was within 8 inches of a team from the platoon that it shot at. If it cannot do this, it is a non-assaulting team and cannot charge into contact at all. So in this case, the Shermans are within 4 inches of both these. Both of the enemy platoons, at least one team's within 8 inches of each, or within 8 inches of each other, but actually within 4. So at one corner, I shot the Pack 40s, and I charge over to the other corner to the infantry, because they have to be within 8 inches. Now, the situation is this. Okay, so the Pack 40s stay where they are. The Shermans are staying where they are. So I'm going to keep the Germans at that corner. Okay, so this stand of German infantry is within 6 inches. This stands within 8 inches, and the Germans will stay within 4 of the Shermans. So there'll still be an assaulting
range,
charge range, yeah. But I'm moving them further away from the Pack 40s. So this first unit's within 6, the second stands within 8, the third one's within 10, and the last one's within 12. Now who can they charge at?
Either the Pack 40s or the first 2, the closest infantry.
You're right, because this one's within 6, so it's this team. It's not the platoon being within 8 inches. It's each team from that platoon. So I can charge anybody in the Pack 40.
Yep.
That's within 4. But as far as the infantry, has to be within 8. So this stands within 6. It's illegal. I can legally charge it. This one's within 8. I can legally charge it. This stands 10 inches away from that Pack 40. I can't charge it. So Arthur, I give you an A+ on that.
Woohoo!
All right, soldier, at ease. What is it?
Sir, I just got the recon report in. There's some interesting developments in it. The report says...
All right, when I first thought about doing this, Arthur, I was thinking about, I want to review Band of Brothers or something like that. But then I thought, if you haven't seen Band of Brothers, watch it. That's all I got to say if you're kind of interested in World War II. But one of the things I noticed I've been watching lately, it was actually a series on YouTube and it was called The Last Days of World War II. And it's all like one word. The Military Facts is what the guy calls his channel. The Military Facts is like one word, and it's basically 25 videos, and they're about 40 minutes long, and it's one video is like 1 week in the war, and it starts from February 18th through to 24th, 1945. That's the first video. So that's that first week there. The last one is episode 25 is August 5th through the 11th, 1945. And it's very interesting. A lot of times I don't sit there and just watch movies or something like that. I'll be doing something else and have it on to listen to. And so I've been listening to this one. And some people they got was, of course, history professors they'll have on there. They actually do a really good job. There's also museum curators that know a lot more about the equipment and the weapons used at the time. They can describe these weapons compared to other weapons. And also, I think most importantly, is the soldiers that were there. Oh. And they're telling their stories of what it was like.
Getting to the point where we don't have a lot of World War II vets left.
That's true. So, now, some of the stuff they go through is what strategies did they use in this battle, some of the tactics, and some of their thinking is why did they need to fight this battle? Why did they think they needed to fight this battle? And, of course, they go through the weapons, the equipment, and the forces that were there, the men and stuff like that were there. They sometimes talk about the terrain and how that affected the battle, like just the mud, the melting snow and, like Russia. Just created the big mud pit for Germany. But it also talks about some of the triumphs from both sides, defeats from both sides, and mistakes that some of the people made. So overall, I think it's a really, really good video series that just takes a week, and they go in depth of what happened during that week. Now, one of the other nice things they do is when they start a video, they recap what happened the previous week. Then they go through what's happening this week, and at the end of the video, they'll preview what's coming up the next, I'm going to do a quote, week of the war. So I would recommend this video series. I'm going to give it a 5 general star out of 5 stars. So like one being 1 star general being like a low, I wouldn't worry about it. 5-star general being like, I think it's a must-see. I'll put this as a 5-star general video series.
I might have to put this on my things to watch.
Yeah, it's a good series.
If I have time.
It's not the same for all of us.
Alright, soldier, you will shape up and you will listen, because we are now going to talk about Sun Tzu and the Art of War. Attention!
All right, so looking at our great Sun Tzu book, or you can find this stuff online, we're in Laying Plans chapter, and we're going to start with, we're not going to do like all the numbers, we're going to do certain ones. And I want to start with 18, which is all warfare is based on deception.
He has a point.
Yeah.
I just should have been better prepared for this.
Well, this is a kind of a deep little subject here too, so.
Yeah. Like, I know I can apply this to Flames of War, but trying to think about how.
Well, it's okay. So I'm advancing these Shermans up here. I'm wanting you to think I'm doing it for this reason, but it's for this other reason. That's the deception part. And I'm moving my men in their half tracks over. Well, why am I going over to this direction? You may think I want you to think it's because of this, but I'm actually moving them there for this reason, to throw you off. That's the part about warfare deception. Because if I just go straight forward, and you know what my course is objective, but I don't want to say like objective for the objective markers, but if you know why I'm moving them up there, well, that's being counterproductive to what I want to accomplish, because then you're going to reinforce that area. But if I'm moving those men around, and actually I don't want to go over there, I want to go more towards the center by moving them over towards the left flank. Ooh, why is he moving those over the left flank? Ooh, what's going on the left flank? And so then you start reinforcing left flank, and then I can move into the middle. So that's the part about all warfare is based on deception. Kind of throw your enemy off. That's kind of simplified, kind of like what I was trying to show there. Don't show your hand, basically.
As much as you
Keep
can.
them guessing. So moving on down, 20. Hold out baits to entice the enemy. And then it says feign disorder and crush him. But there is ways. I mean, you do kind of just put this force out there to sacrifice them because you want that unit out of the opponent's unit out of the way or over here to get a better shot on it, at them. So you kind of put this unit out there hoping they charge into that unit. So I could see you using that.
Especially when there's a time limit on, like, they got to get near objectives, and you have something out there, and they decided
Just too delicious.
too delicious. I'll obliterate it. They're like, okay, you lost now.
Yeah, because I made you do that. So I can see that applying.
Yeah.
Okay, 22. If your opponent is of, I'm going to say this, try to say this, choleric.
Choleric.
How do you say it? Temper, which means bad-tempered. Seek to irritate him. Pretend to be weak, that he may grow arrogant. But this first part I'm really thinking about, because I have ran into people that just get mad during the game.
Oh, yeah.
And so what I read from this is if you make them even madder, they're going to make mistakes.
Very true. I also look at the second part, pretend to be weak, that may grow arrogance. There have been times where I felt weak.
Uh-huh.
And I just want to give up. No. Keep on go. Yeah, I just keep going. And then I realized, like, okay, I get these guys. These are not going to help that much. And I look at their stats and they're like, wait, they have oh. That changes everything. And if I wasn't expecting it, I know my opponent wasn't expecting it.
So I guess that second part is play down your abilities so they start making those mistakes like, well, I can move this out here now because he's not going to be able to do anything against it. But that could be a little harder in a miniature war game because everybody can look up everybody's stats and know what everybody can do.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the hard part. But if they have a bad temper, make them madder. I guess is the way to get, because they're going to make more mistakes. I'm just going to charge these guys out here.
Wait, are you trying to sound like someone I know?
No, I'm not going to say names. I am not going to say names. Okay, last one. Now I'm going to, unless you got some you want to talk about. But the last one I got in this little group is number 24. Attack him where he's unprepared. Appear where you're not expected. And I'm thinking more like ambushes. He's expecting the ambush to come over here. So he's going to reinforce that maybe with some recon or something else.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're going to think, this whole time you've been planning for him to move stuff over there so you can hit the other side. And he's not expecting that.
Yeah, and try to get victory before you can do anything about it.
Right. That could be a little hard to do, but I guess you could kind of clue off your opponent and keep looking over that area or something so they could think, oh, that's where the ambush is going to go. So I'm trying to think, well, reinforcements too, I guess. I didn't think about that.
Oh,
you can get reinforcements coming in. Not the scattered reserves, though.
Yeah, you have no control.
I mean, you got to take what you get with that one, but maybe you start moving a bunch of your forces to one side, and he's thinking, oh, he's going to bring the reinforcements in on that side also. So everything starts getting pulled over there, and then you start bringing reinforcements from the other side.
Yeah, like in most of my lists, like with my Yagdi Tigers, where I cannot have a whole lot of them, and a lot of times in lists where I have to split up my forces, like, I think I prefer to have things that have a lot of power to stay on the board, so usually a lot of times my Yagdi Tigers are off the board. So I could force you to move all over here, and it's like, oh, my Yagdi came out. Have fun, play with him now.
Yeah, I'm just Yagdi. Well, that's all I had. I do see some important points in here that started making me think about maybe trying to do some more baiting and having you second guess why I am actually like, well, there's no objective for you to really move those Shermans over. Why are you moving those Shermans over there? There has to be a reason you're moving them over there. So then maybe you'll start moving stuff so when my reinforcements come in, boom, I'm where I need to be, or my ambush. You just came right into where I need you to for the ambush.
And now for something completely off topic.
All right, Arthur. So last time we talked about playing samurai battles, and we kind of did like a little game, just kind of get back into it. And I really, for life of me, I can't remember why we stopped playing it, but we did.
That was all you. I kept wanting to play it more, but you kind of went on to something else.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed I did, because I think it's a really good game.
Yeah, I really like it.
So basically, it's kind of an interesting game in that I don't think there's very, very, very many war games where it's simultaneous, and I do mean simultaneous.
Yeah, I just really like to look like every unit has its own card, and you make your orders in secret, and then when everyone's ready, reveal them, and you start moving stuff down in a certain order.
Yeah, I did make a mistake on that though, which we will talk about. Well, we could talk about it now. It's what I found out was you do all defensive orders first, which we were doing. It doesn't do this one, then this one, this one. So it's all defensive. Then you do all movement. So you didn't do, I think range came in there first or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that. But you don't do this one first, then this one, then this movement, going down the list.
Oh.
It's all the movements act at the same time.
Ah.
So when I'm trying to assault in and you gave them a move, you still get to move. And I move one space, you get to move one space.
Oh, okay.
Then, if you get to move a second space, both of us move, so forth. So that was one mistake I had, because I came charging in, because we were going down the list that's on the card, and assault happened before anybody moves, which is wrong.
Oh, okay.
Now, I am ready for you this time, because, here they are. Here they are. My resupply unit for my ammo.
Oh, you bought one.
I bought one. Yeah, it came in this week, so I got my little peasant ammo carriers. Now, remember when you were talking about the rule in the book? Here it is. And it's under resupply. It says, like, if they give a ammo out, you have to mark off.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got the rule book online, so they update it. It's gone. They don't have any ammo supply. They just give it out. So they basically have unlimited supply.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. So I will say, I'm really liking samurai battles. The different types of units you can do. That simultaneous. The only problem I can see with it is if I had like 15 units and you had 15 units. Oh my gosh, the game went. Trying to keep track of, okay, I want this unit to go here and this unit to go there.
I think, once again, it takes practice. And because, like, being rusty, just playing a game, like, we did the game in under an hour.
That's true. That's true. And for our first time being back to playing it.
Yeah, and looking up rules and stuff, like, an hour, like, wow. I think once we get the rules back on our hand and everything is easily marked, so like this card is this unit. So it's also like, okay, I have 4 of these guys. Which one is this one? As long as we don't have that kind of problem, I think the game could go fairly fast.
Yeah. And it comes back to what we first talked about. If you know the units, what their capabilities are, the game will go quicker too.
Then again, all their stats are right on the card, so like, okay.
That's true. That's true.
So that's a lot easier to worry about. It just
the only problem I have is that sometimes you have to flip the front of the card to the back, the front to check something out. But that's hasn't been that big of a deal. Now, we were talking. So if you haven't played Samurai Battles, folks, I would play it or to give it a try. It's actually 2 games in one because it's the one we're talking about where you do simultaneous.
It's Art of Tactics.
Yeah, the Art of Tactics. The other one's the Command and Colors, which is like Memoir 44, Battle Lore, Command and Colors, I think is what it is, the Civil War one. So it uses that system too. So you have both games in there. Just a lot of miniatures to put together. A lot, but you get a lot of stuff for this. Now, one thing I kind of talked to you about it was I really like the combat system in this game.
Yeah.
Really like the combat system. It's simple. It works. I'd like to see it in an RPG system. It's a D20 system, basically, in a way. It used D20s.
Yeah, I could very easily see it work on one. I lack the interest in pen and paper RPGs anymore. That I don't want to do the work.
I'm not. Yeah, I kind of got to that point too.
But yeah, like that'd be interesting to do for an RPG game. But for me, like I like big campaigns, and on my blog, I do a lot of stories with my Chaos Army, and I could very easily see them invading like Japan or fantasy Japan or whatever it be. Which is why I'm like, right now I have 5 units. And I'm slowly building up my army. I'm going to be painting them 2 different colors. One would be my Chaos Army, and one is like my defending good guys.
Well, that's one thing that's nice about this game also. Each unit is like $4 to $5. And you get what? Okay, so I bought this peasant for I think like $4.50. I get a man, and he's and a horse or a donkey or something with some ammo packs on him, and then 3 other soldiers, well, they're peasants carrying. I mean, so I get 1, 2, if you count the horse and men separate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 figures, and that's for $4 to $5.
The ninjas was $5.50, but still that's like.
Well, what do you get? Like I think you get about.
That's 5 guys.
5 guys. Yeah, so it's a very, very inexpensive game to get into. That's for sure. 'Cause you really don't need to buy that much stuff.
Well, the base set is you get a lot of stuff for the base set.
You do. You get 2 armies basically.
You get 2 armies, but it is a price sink, like $70, $80.
Yeah. Well, it comes with all the boards too, and the tiles.
Yeah.
Dice, and it's actually you get 2 games in there because you do get both games in that box set, which is really nice. So another thing we were talking about with this, and this goes back to the board game, which is Art of Tactics, is fantasy. Somehow maybe throwing magic. I don't know, but because they do have some guns and stuff there, or barbecue, whatever those guns are called. But we were also talking about trying to maybe get like knights and stuff like that, like European. Could we do something, fantasy version or something like that with it?
Yeah, I was just thinking of like fantasy version of what we have, and just adding like wizards and stuff, or the ancient version of that.
What about L5R, Legend of 5 Rings, kind of?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. They have their like Shigun.
Yeah, now you say that, I can't say the word
Shigunga.
Yeah, but they do like the elements. Now, I do have the rule book for the Clan War, and they do magic in there. I wonder somehow we could take that and put it into this somehow.
Well, also
Shiganja. That's it.
I've also been thinking about like my own ways of doing magic.
Okay.
Because I was thinking of like for spells you have. Well, first you have either combat damage spells,
right,
or buff spells. For damage spells, is like you need to have it in the same kind of style of everything else is. And I figure, well, spells will have like attack on infantry and attack on mounted, like everything else does.
Right.
And you have like 2 types. You have your like really big nuke spells, which just hits one guy, and
you mean like 1 unit?
1 unit.
Okay.
So and that will affect like, okay, this spell hits on 6, and then it has 8 dice. It would be like this really big spell. Or you have a spell that hits a wide area, but only does like 3 dice to everything, or 2 dice.
Yeah.
And I would figure like since ammo's like limited, like your spellcasters, you have like so many spells, and every time you use a spell, you can't cast that spell again.
Or a mana system, maybe. Yeah, I can see what you're saying, because if you go, I'm just going to go on these big, massive spells.
Well, I think we need to have both. Like, you have like so many spells you can only use at once, but you also have mana that builds up over time, so you can't just use all the great big spells at one time. So, like, I want to use this big spell, so I need to wait a while. Or have casting times.
Or, like, they have the rest. Maybe if they do rest, they start getting a little bit of mana. But they do nothing that turn. But
That's a good idea.
Collect some of that mana to be able to cast some of those bigger spells. So it's like, oh, we have to get that sorcerer. He's building up right now.
Yeah.
Or that caster. So, yeah, well, it'd be interesting. I'd like to see that thrown in there somehow. Get some other people playing. So it's a really, really good game, I think.
Yeah, I've been telling other people about the game, and every time I talk about how it works, how it plays, they're like, "Oh, that's really cool."
Yeah, because like I can seriously. I've been trying to rack my brain. Of course, I haven't played like every game.
Yeah.
But I've been really trying to rack my brain of another game I played that has simultaneous actions, and I can't think of one.
But yeah, I will be trying to come up with a campaign that merges my Warhammer army with samurai battles.
I'll take you on. Yeah, I think we may have to look at the L5R, kind of get some ideas, because some with the elements or something.
Well, that wraps up another episode of War Journal, Flames of War. Your host, Tracy and Arthur, thank you for listening to this episode, and keep an eye out for future episodes. So, until next time, as always, have a good game.